All right, welcome to the deep dive. You guys sent us some really thought-provoking stuff from 1984. I mean, it's wild how relevant Orwell still feels, even all these years later.
Yeah, it's like he really hit a nerve.
Totally.
What always gets me is how 1984 just stays with you. It makes you think about power and truth and what it means to be an individual.
Absolutely. So basically, you sent us these excerpts, and we're going to dive deep into them. It's like a mission, right?
Yeah.
Exploring this super creepy world that Orwell created and like really unpacking how the party controls everything and especially how it all affects the characters.
Yeah, we'll be looking at all the different ways they maintain control. Surveillance, rewriting history, crushing dissent,
Mm.
and at the heart of it all is just this raw, relentless pursuit of power.
Makes you shiver a bit, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, let's jump right in. The opening scene drops us straight into Winston's apartment. It's cramped, and there's that huge poster. Big Brother is watching you. Chilling stuff. What do you think? What's the impact of having that constantly staring down at you?
Well, it's brilliant in a way that
Yeah.
sums up the party's whole strategy of psychological control. Like, it's not just there in the story. It's actually meant to make you feel watched all the time. Imagine that, constantly knowing someone's watching you, even if you can't see them. How would that change how you act, even how you think?
You'd be paranoid for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Then there's the telescreen, this thing that's always on, always broadcasting, and potentially recording. Our devices are nothing like this. What's so scary about not being able to turn it off?
The telescreen is like the ultimate tool for control, truly. It works on two levels. First, it just floods you with propaganda, like those endless production figures. It's trying to shape your whole reality. But the surveillance aspect is even worse. It's insidious. You can never disconnect, which means you never have real privacy. Even when you're alone, you're performing, in a way.
That's messed up.
Yeah, totally.
And even Winston's physical surroundings are so oppressive, like the smell of boiled cabbage, the
Yeah.
rundown building. It all adds to this feeling of bleakness.
Exactly. It's all about sensory details that just ground you in this awful reality of Oceania. The boiled cabbage thing, that's like their monotonous diet, no choice. And then the broken infrastructure, like the lift always being out because of hate week preparations. It's like their ideology comes before people's basic needs.
Yeah, it's all backwards.
It really is.
Yeah.
So what do you think? How would living in a place like that with all that pressure, how would it affect you mentally, even spiritually?
It would wear you down,
Yeah.
bit by bit, like a constant attack on your well-being.
Yeah.
Even Winston's varicose ulcer, it feels like a symptom of this environment.
You could say it's symbolic almost. Like
Okay.
his physical health is literally breaking down under the strain of this regime, a constant reminder that he's vulnerable, that this system is literally making him sick.
Yeah, heavy stuff.
Right.
And then there's this whole thing with the Junior Anti-Sex League sash. That's a pretty weird way to control people, right?
The Junior Anti-Sex League, it shows how far the party wants to go, controlling even basic human instincts. Like they're trying to redirect all that youthful energy, that passion, and turn it into this forced purity thing. You have to wonder what that does to someone's mind in the long run.
It's really dehumanizing when you think about it.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, moving on to the 2 minutes hate. They do this every day at the records department. This ritual, it feels so calculated, designed to make people feel a certain way.
It is calculated. It's social engineering at its finest. Like they're giving people an outlet for their anger and frustration, but it's all directed by the party. Everyone gets worked up, hating Goldstein, so they don't even think about hating the party itself.
Right, right.
Pretty clever, if you ask me.
And the way they use those images on the telescreen during the hate, it's so powerful. Like Goldstein turning into a sheep, then a Eurasian soldier.
Oh.
What's the effect of that?
Think of it like a rapid-fire emotional assault. First, you have the sheep, all weak and pathetic, easy to hate. Then, bam, you get the enemy soldier, so all that anger has a target. It's like they're conditioning people to hate on command, almost like Pavlov's dogs.
Wow, I never thought about it like that.
It's pretty disturbing when you think about it.
Totally. And then they have those slogans flashing. War is peace. Freedom is slavery. Ignorance is strength. It's like they're messing with your head.
It's not just propaganda, it's deeper than that. Those slogans are the party's way of controlling thought itself. They force people to accept these blatant contradictions, and it just breaks down your ability to think for yourself. It's a form of mental manipulation that blurs the lines between truth and lies. What do you think? How can a society even function like that?
It's hard to imagine. I mean, the excerpt describes people getting so worked up during the ate. Some even seem to be playing to Big Brother. It's like a twisted religious experience.
Exactly. That's the power of the cult of personality they've built around Big Brother. It's like a religion, and it's all designed to keep people in line. They're so devoted to Big Brother that they don't even question anything. It's actually kind of scary.
Yeah, super creepy. And then there's the whole concept of thought crime. This is like the ultimate crime in Oceania. What exactly is the party trying to control here?
It goes way beyond just words or actions. Thought crime is about controlling what you think, even if it's just a fleeting thought, even if you don't act on it. They want total control, not just of your body, but your mind, too. The ultimate violation of privacy.
Right, and when Winston writes, "Down with Big Brother," in his diary, he's instantly terrified. It's such a small act, but the consequences could be huge.
That moment, it's like a flash of rebellion, and then the fear hits him. It shows you how effective their surveillance is and how deeply ingrained the fear is. You can't even express yourself in private without feeling like you're going to be caught. It's like your own mind is a prison.
That's bleak. And then we have the kids, the spies, who are encouraged to snitch on adults. That's just wrong on so many levels.
Yeah, using children as informants, it's one of the most messed up things the party does. They turn kids against their own parents, make them these little fanatics, and it creates an atmosphere where no one can trust anyone. The way Orwell describes them, their calculating ferocity, it's just chilling. You have to ask yourself, what kind of society does that to its children?
It's a dystopian nightmare.
Totally.
Let's talk about Winston's work in the records department. It's all about systematically rewriting history. Why is this so important for the party, do you think?
It's all about control, right? If you control the past, you control the present, and you can shape the future. They're constantly rewriting history to fit their current narrative, making themselves look good, making their ideology seem like the only truth. It's like they're erasing anything that might challenge their authority.
Yeah, it's more than just altering records. They're actually destroying old information, like literally throwing it down the memory hole.
The memory hole, it's a perfect symbol of how the party wants to erase any inconvenient truths. They get rid of old newspapers, documents, anything that contradicts their current version of events. It's a level of censorship that's just mind-blowing.
It's like they're trying to create this perfect image of themselves.
Yeah.
Always right, never making mistakes.
Exactly. By constantly revising history, they're basically saying, we're infallible. It makes it almost impossible to question them because there's no historical evidence to back it up. Every prediction, every policy, it all looks like the right choice in hindsight.
And that brings us back to this crazy concept of doublethink. How do they get people to believe two contradictory things at the same time?
Doublethink, it's just wild. It's not just about believing two opposite things, it's about fully accepting both, even though they make no sense together. It's like you have to constantly lie to yourself, suppress your critical thinking. The crazy thing is, just by talking about it, we're kind of engaging in doublethink ourselves.
It's like a mental trap. And they even create these totally fake people like Comrade Ogilvy. What's the point of that?
Comrade Ogilvy, he's like the perfect party man, right? Loyal, self-sacrificing. It's a propaganda, basically, meant to replace real historical figures who might tell a different story. It's about manufacturing a past that suits their needs.
And it even goes as far as the children's textbooks, right? They're controlling how kids learn about history.
Textbooks are key to long-term indoctrination. They paint this picture where life before the party was awful, and the party was this glorious liberation. So kids grew up believing it, never questioning it.
It's messed up. You know, Winston actually finds proof of this manipulation. A photograph of Jones, Aronson, and Rutherford. But even that memory seems to fade. What do you make of that?
That photo, it's like this brief glimpse of truth for Winston, real evidence that the party lied. But the fact that he can't hold on to that memory, that the party's version overrates his own experience, it shows how powerful they are. They control not just information, but your memories, your reality. It's like they're reshaping reality itself.
Yeah, like they're rewriting the code of the Matrix or something.
It really is.
Okay, so let's talk about the proles. Winston has this famous line, "If there is hope, it lies in the proles." Why does he think they're the key to changing things?
The proles, they're like 85% of the population, right? And they have a lot more freedom than party members. The party doesn't really care about controlling their minds, just their actions. Winston thinks that if they ever woke up to their power, to how they're being exploited, they could overthrow the party.
Interesting. The excerpts show their lives are so different from party members, just focused on getting by, enjoying simple things.
Exactly. They worry about food, work, the little things. The party doesn't bother with ideology for them. They see them as harmless. But that also means they haven't had all their humanity crushed out of them. They still have real emotions, real connections.
Which is something that Winston desperately craves, right? Like his memories of his mother and sister, those moments of real human connection. What do those memories represent?
Those memories, they're like a window into a lost world, a time when love and loyalty and sacrifice mattered, things the party has destroyed. His mother and sister, their selfless acts, they show the kind of deep emotional bonds that the party can't tolerate.
Right, because the only loyalty is to Big Brother. And when he goes to Mr. Charrington's shop, it's almost like he's searching for something, some connection to that lost past.
That shop, it's full of old stuff, things from before the party, and no telescreen, so there's this feeling of privacy, of respite. The objects themselves, the gate leg table, the engraving, they all speak to a history that the party wants to erase.
Right, a sense of continuity.
Exactly.
There's also that nursery rhyme, oranges and lemons. What's the deal with that?
The rhyme, it's a fragment of a shared cultural memory, and Winston can't even remember it all, which is like a metaphor for how the party has destroyed their cultural heritage. It's heartbreaking in a way.
It is. There's a line in the excerpt about the biological uselessness of pain and fear. What does that mean for Winston?
It's a bleak realization. In a system where thought crime is always discovered and punished, pain and fear don't help you survive. They're just tools for the party to get confessions and control you. It's like Winston is realizing that resistance is futile.
That's heavy. Okay, let's talk about Winston and Julia. At first, he really dislikes her, mostly because she seems so devoted to the party.
Yeah, Winston sees her as a true believer, with her sash and her enthusiasm for party activities. He thinks she represents everything he hates.
But then they start meeting in secret, and it turns out they both want to rebel, especially against the party's control over their personal lives, their sexuality. How does their affair become an act of defiance?
Well, the party wants to control everything, even who you sleep with. Their affair, it's like a reclaiming of their own bodies, their desires. It's a small rebellion, but it's significant because it's about personal freedom.
Right, and it's interesting that their motivations seem different. Julia is more pragmatic. It seems like she just wants to enjoy life, while Winston is driven by these bigger ideas of truth and freedom.
Julie's rebellion, it's more about pleasure, the things the party denies them. She just wants to live a little. Winston, though, he's after something more, a deeper understanding of what's wrong with this system. He wants to tear it all down.
Two sides of the same coin, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
Their rented room above Mr. Charrington's shop, it becomes their little haven, away from the telescreens. What does that space represent for them?
That room, it's like a bubble of freedom, a place where they can pretend for a little while that the party doesn't exist. They don't have to perform. They can just be themselves. It's a powerful symbol of their longing for privacy and autonomy.
Yeah, and those little things they enjoy in that room, like the real coffee and sugar, those are pretty big deals in this world, right?
In a world where everything is rationed and controlled, those little indulgences become huge acts of defiance. It's like they're reclaiming the richness of life that the party wants to erase. It's a taste of freedom.
And Julia, she works in Pornosec, making porn for the polls, while at the same time she's following all these party rules about sex. What does that tell us about her and about the party itself?
Julia, she's a survivor. She sees the hypocrisy of the party and just rolls with it. It's like she's found a way to game the system. It shows how cynical she is about their supposed morality.
Right, she's playing their game. But in the end, their belief that their affair is a secret, it's a fatal mistake. They underestimate the party's reach.
That's the thing about a totalitarian state. It doesn't matter how careful you are. They're always watching, always listening. It shows you how much power they have over individuals.
It's a constant power imbalance. Okay, let's talk about O'Brien. Winston has this weird feeling about him, this belief that he might be part of the resistance. Where does that hope come from?
Well, there's that one moment during the 2 minutes hate where Winston thinks he sees a flicker of understanding in O'Brien's eyes. It's a tiny thing, but in that world, any hint of dissent can feel like a huge connection. Winston wants to believe he's not alone.
Hope can be a powerful thing.
Absolutely.
And then they have this secret meeting at O'Brien's place, which is this super luxurious apartment. It's a total contrast to Winston's life.
O'Brien's apartment, it's a reminder that there's a whole other level of privilege within the party. The inner party, they live like kings while everyone else struggles. It shows how corrupt the system really is.
Yeah. It's all about power in the end. And then O'Brien confirms that the Brotherhood is real and he recruits them. That must have been an amazing moment for Winston.
It's like everything Winston has been hoping for suddenly becomes real. He's not alone. There's a chance to fight back. It's a huge turning point.
And then there's that moment when O'Brien just switches off the telescreen in his apartment. It's a small gesture, but it feels really significant.
It's a power move, for sure. It shows that the inner party are above the rules that everyone else has to follow. They can even escape the constant surveillance. It creates this illusion that they're on the same side, that O'Brien can be trusted.
It's all part of the manipulation.
Exactly. And then he drops that bombshell that the party's true goal is just power. Not some higher purpose, just raw, naked power.
That's the scariest part of the book, I think. It takes away any justification for their actions.
Right. There's no moral code, no ideology. It's just about control. It's terrifying.
Yeah, it really is. And then there's the book, Goldstein's book, which is supposed to explain everything. What's its role in all of this?
The book, it's like the key to understanding the party's inner workings. It lays out their methods, their philosophy. But then there's that question, did Goldstein really write it? Or was it created by the party as a way to trap dissenters? It's a bit of a mystery.
A mind game within a mind game?
Exactly.
And then, bam, they get arrested. And it turns out Mr. Charrington, the nice old guy, he's actually thought police.
That betrayal, it's devastating for Winston. He trusted Charrington. He saw him as a link to the past. It shows that no one is safe, that the party's reach is total.
Yeah, it's like nowhere's safe. And then Winston is taken to the Ministry of Love, this place that's basically designed for torture.
The Ministry of Love, it's the opposite of love, right? It's about breaking you, stripping you of your identity, the constant light, the isolation, the torture. It's all designed to make you question everything, even your own sanity.
It's the ultimate mind game. And we see these other prisoners there, like Ampleforth and Parsons, who've been arrested for these seemingly small things.
Those arrests, they show how far the party's control goes. Ampleforth, he's arrested for a word in a poem. Parsons, his own kids, turn him in for talking in his sleep. It's a climate of fear where everyone is suspicious of everyone else.
You can't even trust your own family.
Nope.
And then there's Room 101, this legendary place where they confront you with your worst fear. Just the thought of it is enough to terrify people.
Room 101, it's the ultimate weapon. They find your deepest fear and use it to break you. It's not just physical torture, it's psychological. They force you to betray everything you believe in.
It's like the ultimate test of loyalty.
Right.
But not to your beliefs, but to your own survival.
Right.
And O'Brien, he's the one who tortures Winston and tries to re-educate him. It's not just about pain, it's about forcing him to accept the party's version of reality.
O'Brien, he's the ultimate party man. He truly believes in their twisted logic. And he's trying to make Winston believe it, too. It's not enough to make him obey. He wants to change how Winston thinks.
Right, to brainwash him. And they mess with his memories. They make him doubt his own senses, like when O'Brien makes him believe he's holding up 4 fingers when there's only 3.
That scene, it's crucial. It shows how far they're willing to go to control reality itself. They want to control not just what people do, but what they think, what they perceive.
And O'Brien literally says, we control reality. We control human nature. That's a pretty bold statement.
Yeah, it sums up their whole philosophy. They believe they have the power to shape everything, that there's no truth outside of the party.
And in the end, Winston breaks down. He betrays Julia to escape his fear of rats. It's such a sad, brutal moment.
That moment, it's the party's victory. They've broken him. They've forced him to violate his deepest loyalties. He chooses self-preservation over love. It's tragic.
Yeah, it really is. And then he's released, and we see him back at the Chestnut Tree Cafe, totally defeated.
He's a shell of his former self. Physically broken, emotionally empty. He's accepted the party's reality, and his memories of rebellion, of Julia, they're fading away. It's heartbreaking.
And the excerpt ends with Winston accepting Big Brother's love, while the telescreen announces a victory in Africa. It's a disturbing ending.
That ending, it's a warning. It shows what happens when totalitarianism wins. Winston doesn't just obey. He loves Big Brother now. And the victory in Africa, it's just another lie, another way to control the narrative. It's bleak, but it's effective. It leaves you thinking.
So we've come to the end of this deep dive into 1984. We've covered a lot. Totalitarian control, the manipulation of truth, the suppression of individuality, the abuse of power.
And by looking at these excerpts, these specific moments in the story, we can see how these themes play out on a personal level, how they affect real people, their lives, their relationships, their minds.
Yeah, it's a reminder of how fragile our freedoms are and how important it is to defend them.
Mm.
So here's something to think about, something to take away from this deep dive. In our own world where information is everywhere and misinformation spreads so quickly, how do we protect our own minds? How do we make sure we're not being manipulated?
It's a huge question, and it's one that Orwell was wrestling with all those years ago.
It makes you think, right?
Yeah.
We encourage you to go back and read those excerpts again, maybe even the whole book. Orwell's vision is more relevant now than ever.
I agree.
Thanks for joining us on the deep dive. We'll see you next time.
See ya.